Well, good day, everybody. Harry Brailsford at SMB Nation, bringing you another view of the world in terms of the SMB technology community. And today I'm with Tony Perez from GoDaddy, Vice President and General Manager, and we're talking about a new security study. So, Tony, good day to you, sir. And where are you located? And maybe if you could quickly introduce yourself. You were just telling me off camera you joined GoDaddy within the last year and a half.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Harry. I'm really excited to be here and really excited to talk to your audience. So I came to GoDaddy April of 2017 via an acquisition of a company that I helped co-found with my partner, Daniel. And what we did was we had a website security company. What we specialized in was trying to identify malicious behavior on websites, trying to mitigate external attacks. But at the core of what we were about was trying to bring enterprise-grade security to the everyday small business, right? Or large organizations spend millions upon millions of dollars on security, but how can the SMBs do it? And we try to tackle that problem. So now we do that here at GoDaddy.
Sure. And are you in the Bay Area? Are you in Phoenix? Or where might you be?
No, so I'm actually in Southern California.
Okay.
We have a small satellite office in Temecula, but I spend a lot of my time floating between the Sunnyvale, Seattle, and the Phoenix offices working with the teams.
Oh, well, good. Well, let us, Jenny and I know next time you're up in the Seattle area. So more importantly, we're here to talk about, you have an inaugural small business website security report. Folks, you'll see the link beneath me in the caption, and please click on over. And there were a couple of findings when I read the report that maybe we could go over. So looks like you surveyed 1,000 very small businesses, which would be a natural act for GoDaddy. And let's talk about that. Over half reported financial losses due to hacking. What's the story?
Yeah, so what we found is as we engage with very small businesses and we started to just ask them basic questions around security, they started to kind of open up and share kind of some of their experiences. And what they said is it's amazing how ill prepared they are when it comes to a security issue. And so when something happens, they end up spending a lot of money trying to figure out what to do next. Who do I talk to? Do I go to my host? Who do I call if my computer's infected? What do I do if my phone is having issues? And so they end up spending a lot of costs there. But another interesting thing is there was a lot of conversation around the impact to their brand. So we found that a good percentage of them, not only did they have a financial impact, but they also had an impact where they had to engage with their customers to notify them of a potential breach. And what we would get back was, man, that actually causes a lot of trust issues. My customers are coming back and saying, God, well, why didn't you take care of this? And their general response to us in private is, how could we? We have so many other things we're supposed to be focusing on. Security is but one layer of what I'm trying to do. So it was very insightful. We also, the other interesting aspect is we found that 1 in about 8 of the organizations we engage with actually spent more than about $5,000. And if you're a small business, that could be really, really impactful.
Oh, I still notice $5,000. Let me tell you, we're a small business serving small businesses. I don't think I'll ever not notice $5,000. So let's talk about maybe some of the remediation then. And in your report, I saw it's not enough to just clean up the compromised files. That there's other methods going on. Let's talk about that. What are the hackers doing?
Yeah, so whether you're thinking about websites, you're thinking about desktops, the same principle applies, right? More often than not, organizations or individuals will try to address the symptom. This is what's happening, right? Oh my gosh, my website is distributing some form of malware. Maybe there's a little pop-up or something, and you address that. And you're like, okay, cool. I removed that off my site or I moved that off my computer. I must be okay. But what we really want people to do is spend a little bit more time thinking like, okay, well, what was the objective of the attacker? The attacker wants to take control of whatever they're gaining access to. Say it's your website. Well, just because you remove what they want you to see doesn't mean that they don't have something else in the environment. And so what we actually found, analysis by some of the researchers like Tiago and Fio, was that about 89% of the sites that we remediated actually had what we call backdoors. And what backdoors are is there's just another mechanism that allows an attacker to regain access to your environment. And so what they say is like, hey, if you find an issue and you remove it, you're likely going to employ other what we call security controls to mitigate that.
Yeah.
With these backdoors, we're going to bypass whatever you do. So we don't have to authenticate the same way you do. We can bypass whatever controls you do, and we'll just continue to get access to your environment. And what you find is this concept of reinfection. So people constantly get affected over and over, and they get frustrated, like, why does this keep happening to me? And it's nothing more than the fact that they keep cleaning the symptom, but they're not really cleaning the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and then today I was watching CNBC earlier, totally unrelated story, but the concept's the same. A well-known hardware OEM, actually part of the SMB community, and out of respect, I'll not name them because it's their ultimately their identity to tell their story. But CNBC is reporting that in a Chinese manufacturing facility, a chip the size of a piece of rice gets been inserted into the motherboard. And again, this is early reporting, and we'll let that good customer tell their story. But the point is, that's the world we live in, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the big message we want people to think about, which is this is great that we're employing tools to get things cleaned up, et cetera. But if you are especially one that experiences multiple infections or multiple issues, that's usually what we call a strong indicator that there's something else going on. And in all our analysis, that is what we find. So we go in, we clean up what people are seeing, and we get them back up and running. Say they're blacklisted, but we also take the time to go in and say, what else could the attackers have done?
Yeah.
What other anomalies exist in here? What might give them access? And it's why kind of on average, when we clean up sites, we're cleaning anywhere between 100 to 150 unique pages on that site. So it's not because that's what they see, but that's all the extra stuff that was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe, the final point that I took out of the study is that you said of the 65,000 global website cleanup requests, half involved outdated software. So what kind of platform, what kind of outdated software? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so let me clarify this a little bit. So in our report, what we found was in more often than not, organizations were using out-of-date instances. So in one instance, WordPress, one of the leading platforms out there, was about 59% of the time was out of date. But we also found that things like e-commerce platforms like Magento and Prestacard and whatnot were anywhere between 80 to 90%. What I think that this speaks to, and it's indicative to individual behaviors, right? And it also speaks to the complexity of running a small business. Like the website is but one very small piece of a lot of other initiatives. And so trying to keep up with the state of your core or trying to keep up with the components that make up your website is very, very difficult for SMBs. And I think that's what I take away from this more than anything else. It's not to say that one platform is more or less secure than the other. It's just that as everyday small businesses, it's really, really difficult to keep up with the continuous stream of updates that come out at the core of the application like WordPress or Magento or Joomla, but as well as any of the other pieces beneath that. And what we also find is that, unfortunately, most of the vulnerabilities come through weak credentials, weak passwords, but also exploitation of software vulnerabilities that are often patched in updates, right? And so that's how it all kind of fits together. So SMBs are very busy, which makes it so that they don't know what to update, when to update, what to update. And then unfortunately, that is what contributes to how attacks happen.
Yeah, no, I get it, and it's the proverbial problem. Boy, I've got 10 things on my to-do list I need to do.
Exactly.
The last of which is updating web related, platform software and so on. But well, Tony, thanks for your time. And folks, just to remind you, so we're talking today about the inaugural Small Business Website Security Report. The URL's below. You can click over and go get your own copy of that. Tony, last question before I let you go. But whenever I see the word inaugural, it's a little bit like our first annual conference, which is bold. So I'm assuming maybe with your arrival, is this going to be is it an annual report, a quarterly report, or a periodic report? But
what I'm hoping is that we're going to do this annually, right? Our charter here is to get people's ideas online and help them flourish. And what I spent my day looking at is how do I help them do that in a safe manner? And so I think part of that, we have to hold ourselves accountable to continuously doing this analysis and building upon it. And so what I hope is in the future, we'll provide better insights. Well, we've got some 18 million customers, right? And so we should be able to derive a lot of intelligence from the very small ecosystem. And then we should take that intelligence and not just use it for ourselves, but share it with the world so that we can create a better web.
All right, well, enjoy that nice weather in Southern California. We are deep into fall and monsoon season. But Tony, thanks for your time. And folks, thanks for supporting SMB Nation as we continue to bring knowledge to you. Thank you very much.
Take care, Harry.